Live at the Roar Zone, so we are going live on Facebook, live on Instagram. We're everywhere, man. You can't get rid of us. The Roar Zone is everywhere. So what we do here at the Monster Motivator TV, we're a little different. We like to take them behind that black curtain. Let them know who you are, where you came from, where you're at today, and where you see yourself going. All right, I'll chunk it down, man, and we'll pour out those golden nuggets. Deal?
Good.
Sounds good. Carl, thank you for coming on.
Hey, thanks for having me, Dave.
So this is going to be a really cool show because we're going from a registered nurse, right, RN,
Registered nurse, yeah.
into the real, understanding what is really going on with the prescription medication and that crazy industry.
That is a crazy industry, yeah.
The natural supplement world, which I'm rolling out my own line of supplements as well, so I love that. That's definitely a big part of my world. So between mindset, personal development, and the supplement world, right, the natural supplement world,
exactly.
You got my attention. Secondly, a retired Navy vet. So thank you for your service.
But I did my years, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, thank you for your service.
Thank you.
So without the men, the women, and the canines, we wouldn't be able to do what we do.
Exactly.
And we just, that's the real.
Right.
So I think a lot of people, you don't want to forget that.
Yeah.
That's the real.
To me, it's always been freedom isn't free. Somebody paid for that a long time ago.
Yep, and they keep paying for it. And they keep paying for it. And so, where were you born and raised?
Los Angeles area. I was born in San Pedro.
Okay.
And grew up kind of in that area, San Pedro, Downey.
Born and raised in SoCal. How was your childhood?
Oh, well, it was a tough childhood. It really was.
Yeah.
I had a single parent. My mom, dad divorced when maybe I was 3, so it was just me and my brother and
your
her.
mom?
Yeah, unfortunately, later on in life, my mom got into alcohol and was an alcoholic. Matter of fact...
teenager?
Oh, way younger than that.
Okay.
My whole life, I don't remember her not drinking.
Right. So you've been around that.
Oh, yeah.
And
yeah. Drinking, smoking, such like that. That's the hard part. My mom died when I was only 23. She was 41. So, she was way young still.
Due to alcohol?
Due to alcohol complications from alcoholism.
Liver and all that?
Yeah. Liver was bad, but she actually had a gastrointestinal bleeding, which actually killed her while she was asleep. So she didn't even know it.
Yeah.
Because of that, I had to grow up real quick. Yeah. I remember when I wasn't...
Family needed you. Really?
Yeah, well, my brother did, we had to go to school. She wasn't always available, You
had to figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember when I couldn't even, I wasn't even tall enough to cook on the stove, I'd have to grab a chair, push it up there, turn it on, make oatmeal for me and my brother. And just had to grow up real quick.
Just had to figure it out. It's interesting. I'm a big believer that life is perception, right? There's a lot of people out there saying, oh, man, that poor guy, that poor kid, right? Because he had to grow up so quick.
Yeah.
And on the other hand, whether she meant to or not, to give you that independence, right? To ultimately, not the way it was done, right? But that it was done to teach you how to fish instead of always fishing for you.
Oh, yeah.
And for me personally, right? If I had the choice, knowing what I know now, right? Obviously, don't ask me that when I'm a little kid.
Sure,
but if I had the choice to grow up the way to be independent, learn how to fish, or have my parents fish for me until I'm an adult, and I'd much rather have learned how to fish. Yeah. Looking back now, knowing what I know.
Yeah, when I was a kid, in high school, I didn't take home ec, but I knew how to sew, I knew how to cook. I knew how to do all that myself, Yeah, I did have to grow up quick, but it taught me to be independent. And, it started those leadership qualities that I didn't know I would need later on.
So let me ask you this. You do define it as a tough childhood, but are there parts of you that are grateful that you were able to learn how to fish that early on?
Oh, most definitely.
Okay.
Most definitely.
That's what I think I would love to have people hear.
Yeah, right? Because I say it's a tough childhood because I was abused. I had to watch my mom, in these situations where she was, incapacitated.
Yeah, it wasn't pretty.
It wasn't pretty.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean. You know, because of that, we couldn't afford things. You know, I couldn't do the things that I wanted to do. So, I mean, to me, that, you know, was a tough childhood. I started working at a liquor store, you know, bagging ice and stocking refrigerator when I was like maybe 10, 11. You know, watching weed being passed out the back of the, you know,
and that's
you know?
that kind of ties into a little bit to the almost, not that you were, but like an immigrant mentality, right? The kids have to work very young in order to provide for the family. Now, and for me, I look back, I was adopted. So I was in an orphanage from day one to 18 months old. Yeah. And my parents that adopted me were 2 generations ahead. They were in their late 40s. So my parents were the World War II vet, right? He was a World War II veteran. And their mentality was a lot like the immigrant mentality, right? Where when he got back from World War II, 2 days back, his mom goes, he's eating breakfast at 7 o'clock in the morning. She goes, what are you doing? He goes, I'm eating breakfast. She goes, how come you're not working?
Yeah, exactly.
She goes, we need money. It's interesting. You know, man, you just can't get that anywhere else, though.
No, you can't. I mean, it has to do with your upbringing and such like that. You're not going to get it. I mean, I know, you know, I started working and such like that, not necessarily to help out the family, but to make sure I had the things that I needed and to survive, basically, because I could, you know, my mom didn't pay for anything for me. Right. You know, her money went elsewhere. You know, cigarettes, alcohol, and most of the time there was food in the house. You know, some days there weren't. You know, in that case, I would take the money that I earned or whatever to go buy me and my brother food.
How much older were you than your brother?
Just a year.
Okay.
Just a year. But later on, my mom had another son who, you know, I helped raise and such like that. Came like 10 years later, but still I was there and, you know, helped.
You were the oldest then.
Yeah, exactly.
Has it affected your brother, your younger brother, with the growing up that way?
You know what? I don't think it did, because he was being taken care of. So, you know, his thing is, I think because he didn't have the structure, that he was a little bit more on the wild side, whereas I couldn't do that. I couldn't be the wild child. I had to be responsible.
And, you know, probably your personalities probably fit that anyway. You probably are a little more reserved, more calm, more steady.
No, you were. Back then I was a hothead and everything bothered me and such like that, you know. But,
but survival will do that for you.
Yeah, but you know, I knew what had to be done. You know, I knew the responsibilities I had to take on.
So once you became a young adult, you lost your mom. And were you in the Navy at the time?
Yeah, I was in the Navy.
What made you go in?
You know, not knowing that I was going to have the money. You know, I knew that the only way, if I really wanted to go to school, I was going to have to do it through the military.
Okay, that was
you know, they offered. That was my plan.
Okay.
Of course, that didn't work out the way it was supposed to.
No. What happened?
You know, I always have a favorite saying, you know, man plans, God laughs. You know? So, you know, my plan was go to the military, go to school, you know, become an officer and such like that. Well, I did get there. You know, I got my scholarship to go to school, and for some reason, don't know what it was. Maybe I wasn't mature enough for school, you know, being away from home and such like that. So I failed out. You know, it's not something I really talk about. Not a lot of people know that now.
Well, but here's the thing, right? At the end of the day, I always tell people, your story's not about you, right? You were bad enough to make it through. Now it's your obligation to share that, because there are people that need to hear that at their time. And you don't know who you're going to affect, right? When you do share that story. And once you start to own it, I always say it's you are the one that decides what that title, failure or success, means for you. When you can take that on, now you take control of your journey again, and you don't give up that driver's seat to somebody else that might look on the outside and say, well, that's failure. That might be failure to you, but I learned, and here's what I've done since. You know, so I know, like, I could tell when you said, you know, you haven't really shared that. And I could tell by your body language and the energy. But what a courageous thing to be able to share that, because you don't know who's going to hear this and say, wow, I'm not the only one. Wow, maybe I'm not in the minority. Maybe I am in the majority, right? And that's what happens with our story. We think we're the only ones, right? So it wasn't for you.
No, it wasn't. And you know, looking back on it, I mean, if that didn't happen, I wouldn't be where I am now.
So expand on that.
Because
it's important.
Because I failed out of school, and how I got there was through a scholarship that I, I went to this one program in the Navy called the Broadened Opportunities for Officer Selection and Training, which is the most intense school that there is in the Navy. It has the highest dropout rate. It's
now, did you get picked for that?
Oh yeah, I got picked for that. Based on my ASVAB scores, and such like that. So I got picked for that. Matter of fact, I actually went in first. Because remember I told you I was more of a computer math geek, so I actually went in going as a nuclear electronic technician.
Wow.
So, but this other school popped up, and they said, "Oh, you qualify for this. This will get you a Navy scholarship or a trip to the Naval Academy." And I was like, "Cool, that's what I want to do." I passed that highest dropout rate, ran by Marines. All of our squad leaders were Marine platoon sergeants. So I mean, this was no joke.
Yeah.
These guys were tough. And so I passed that school, got my scholarship, and went on, but just didn't do well. But when you do that, you lose everything. You start off at square one. You earn absolutely nothing when you go into the Navy.
Right.
So I went in, got an appointment to a ship, was a deck aide or a bosun mate, So I was swabbing the decks,
Bottom of the barrel.
Yeah, exactly. I go from, nuclear ET school to, you've got no trade whatsoever.
Right.
You can't go lower, lower than that. So, in that way, I was humbled big time. Here I thought I was so smart and such like that, but that's a humbling experience, dropped all the way down to nothing. Well, then, I met some guys on the ship who were Navy corpsmen, and they were cool guys, really cool guys. And that kind of started, so I hung out with them, and as I hung out with them, guys would come down, get sick call and such like that, so I would listen, I would learn, and so they said, "Hey, why don't you just do this?" And so that kind of started my whole nursing career,
right?
Which happened, like I
said,
which
would have never happened.
Which would have never happened. Yeah, exactly. Because when I was in the Navy as a Navy corpsman, they were like, "Hey, did you know you can apply for your LVN license without having to go to school? Just challenge the test." So I challenged the test and passed. I became a licensed vocational nurse.
Did it feel more in alignment for you?
No, not then, because I still didn't, it was just kind of a thing that happened. It was like, okay, well, you're a Navy corpsman, you can challenge the test, so go challenge the test. I was like, okay, I think I could probably pass that test, me being the smart guy and such like that. So, and I did. Yeah. I passed it. So I was in during the Gulf War, and it was like, okay, just had my first child, we were down in San Diego, and it was time for me to re-up. It was like, well, what do I do? Which way do I go?
You have a family now.
Yeah, I got a family now. There's a chance that if I re-up, I'm going to the Middle East, and I've got this brand new baby. Yeah, sorry, no.
Right.
So I got out.
You opted out?
I opted out, because of my nursing license that I got because of the Navy.
Yep.
I was able to get a job in the civilian world.
Yeah.
So then it started to line up.
Okay. It started to make a little more sense.
Yeah.
Right? And obviously you've been in it 30 years, right? So there's something there that's feeding you, right? So you get a job, now you're working in the civilian world, you're out of the Navy, got a family.
Right.
What's going on now? I mean, are you enjoying the nursing right from the beginning?
Yeah, because I think I really found my niche early in my career.
Okay.
Because I was working on the floor, med surg unit, taking care of patients there, and my supervisor that was there got transferred over to the home health department, and she calls me one day and she goes, "Hey, I'm looking for good LVNs to come over here and work. I know you got really good assessment skills. Come on over." And I was like, "I've never done home health. I don't know what home health is all about." She goes, "Don't worry about it. Just come on over." Okay. So based on, me being a good nurse initially already, my first 2 years
opened some doors for you.
Yeah, opened some doors for me,
Right.
Yeah, from then on, it was just, I love the freedom of being in my car, being able to go from patients to patient's house. In home health care, patients are the most comfortable because they're in their own home.
Yeah.
They can have their little dog or their cat sitting on their lap while you're taking care of them.
And so that means you get a different experience versus being in the hospital.
Exactly.
And I get this, right? I love being on the road. And I love being in new places. So you get to meet new people.
Exactly.
You get to be in a new location. And you get that feeling of that freedom.
Right.
Right? I get that. I completely get that.
So, exactly. So, that kind of, I found my niche early in home health care. So it was just kind of just stayed there because every day was either a different experience or, you just really fall in love and you build up that rapport with your patients and that relationship. So it ended up being a really good fit for me.
Where in this journey did you start to see really what was going on with the prescription drug industry?
You know, unfortunately, I wish I could say it started a long time ago, but it didn't.
Okay.
You know, it's just been very, very recent. I would say probably within the past 4 years.
Oh.
Maybe it was a little bit longer than that. I just didn't really think about or put the connection together. Because I remember one of the things that I used to do with my home health clients, because you'd go there and go through all their medications and such, and they're like, and you see all of these medications.
Yeah.
I'm like, do you know why you're taking all these medications? You know, that was always the big question. You know,
Right.
and they go, no, not really. And that was always the one big thing was their blood pressure. You know, they'd be on 3 or 4 blood pressure medications.
Right.
So I'd have them do these things, you know, like check your blood sugar every single morning for 2 weeks without your medication and see where it's at.
Really?
Yeah, exactly. Because what you need to do is you need to establish that baseline.
Okay.
You know, because my doctor at one point, you know, I went in, he says, oh man, your blood pressure is high every time you come in there. I go, all right, you know, he goes, well, maybe we'll put you on some meds, but here, I want you to do this first. So that's where I learned that, you know. So,
Right.
you know, my
So
doctor
you
said,
a doctor that
oh yeah, as a
outside the
doctor,
box.
yeah,
Okay.
he thought outside the box. He goes, take your blood pressure, you know, in the morning for 2 weeks straight,
Right.
you know, and write it down and then bring that thing back to me, you know. So I started having some of my patients do that, you know, and they were discovering, oh, maybe I don't need this medication. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they would
Yeah.
be taking it back, and then the doctors would start readjusting their medications, which is the way it should work.
And a lot of times their doctor would be like, well, I don't know why this is, but
Right.
This
Well,
is what
or
we
whatever
do.
it is that they discussed. I wasn't there.
no,
so.
but you know what I mean.
Sure.
Right, because
Yeah.
you're advising them to do something,
Mhm.
right? Ultimately, now they bring their results back, and
Right.
the doctor's like, well, wait a minute.
Yeah,
Wow.
exactly.
Okay, this turned around.
So yeah, so that was kind of my I guess my initiation into, you know, our pharmaceuticals really,
Yeah.
really working.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So just more recently, though, you know, it's just been more studying.
Yeah.
You know, what's really going on in our industry and such like that, and you know, you start putting things together. You know, who's working in the government here? Who's working in the government over here?
What's
you know,
the
why?
agendas?
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Right.
And of course, you know, there's lots of new documentaries out there.
Yeah.
You know, on
Yeah.
food and medicine, and one of the most recent ones I watched was the one on cancer and such like that, which was really scary. And of course, you know, we can't make any claims or anything like that. So, but you know, it is scary.
Yeah.
There are alternatives out there that doctors won't discuss.
Right.
You
Right.
know,
That are
which is-
legit.
that are
Yeah.
really- and that's kind of where it sparked. And then, you know, about the same time, I was looking at nutrients or the foods that we eat and such like that. And then, you know, you go in there and you discover things like GMOs. And to me, it doesn't make any sense that you've got a company who deals with insecticides and pesticides who now control our food industry and our seed industry.
Yeah.
You know, to
It's
me,
a little
that's...
bit of a,
you know, to me, that seems like a conflict, you
Right.
know?
It's like your mechanic working on your teeth.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Did you wash your hands? I mean, and here's the other thing too, is a big, big thing, if you will, for lack of a better term, is the hormones in the food that we're consuming, tied in with the unhealthy lifestyles, are just moving the clock up so
Sure.
quick.
Right.
So much quicker than it has to. I owned a sports nutrition store from 2008 through 2012, and I'm getting back into it. And I tell people all the time, they're titled supplements for a reason. They supplement your lifestyle.
Right.
So the cleaner, the better that your lifestyle is,
Right.
the better that they work. If they're for your goal, you know. So if you're going to sit on the couch, you're going to drink beer, eat pizza, and eat wings, not exercise, well, that supplement is only going to do so much, right?
Exactly.
If anything.
Right.
But if you start to change your lifestyle for that goal,
Right.
and you match that with the right supplement, now you've got something to bite into.
Exactly.
Is that
Yeah.
you know, that's what I think a lot of people get misled, right?
Yeah.
Between marketing on some
Right.
companies, right, and their expectation. So,
Yeah.
you know, I think you could talk on that a lot because you're seeing both ends of it, right? You're seeing the prescription world, you're seeing the natural world.
Yeah.
That being said, I'm completely in alignment with you. The prescription drug industry is out of control.
Oh, most definitely.
It is out of control.
You know, we've got people who take prescription medication for something, but then, you know, they have side effects to it and they have to take another prescription medication
It's
for that.
It's
you
an
know?
endless
So
cycle.
It really is.
It's an endless cycle.
Yeah.
And then what are some of those things like on the commercials, you see the side effects.
Sure.
It's just wild.
And of course, the doctors then say, well, the drug is more beneficial than the side effects are.
Yeah.
So continue to take the drug. Yeah.
Right. And then I also think that you need to define for yourself what is quality of life, right? Since you've really started to do more homework in the last 4 years, has it changed your outlook on your whole industry as far as the nursing?
I think it has.
In what way?
In what way that now, instead of, when I talk to patients now, when we educate patients now, we look at their nutrition as part of the whole thing.
That it wasn't so important.
That it wasn't so important 4 years ago
Back then.
because, one, I wasn't educated about it, so, it didn't really make a difference.
Right.
And of course, me, myself, knowing that now, trying to be careful now because all this weight came on because of poor diet and not exercise. But now, I'm starting to change that now as I get more, knowledgeable. And
what are some of the things that you start to implement in your life?
Eating more non-GMO organic foods and such like that.
Okay.
When I can, and most of the diet is. So I think that's probably one of the major changes that I've done.
Okay.
In my research, knowing that our diseases are correlating with the amount of GMOs that are in our food. So as you see more GMO in our foods, you see more disease processes happening.
Okay.
So, that's one of the things that we want to try to prevent.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
Just by changing that, eating more whole foods and such like that, or organic, grass-fed beef, more natural type
And look,
stuff.
at the end of the day, the ultimate poison is simple sugars. And let's even go further. Simple sugars, people think of candy or ice cream or sugar. No, white flour.
Yeah.
White flour is hard. It's horrendous.
Yeah.
What it does, our body just can't break it down.
Sure.
Why does it spike our insulin? Right? It's so toxic to our body, but the food industry, it sits on the shelves much better.
Oh, sure.
Right? Because it's preserved.
It's preserved.
So that's a huge thing that people have to, or not have to, but they should start to really look at. The other thing that's important too, I think, is understanding that it doesn't have to be all this, right? It can be in moderation and still live a healthy lifestyle.
Oh, sure, of course, yeah. At one point, I was actually diabetic in my life, but I couldn't take artificial sugars. My body just rejects them instantly.
Okay.
Even some of these things that people say aren't artificial, like stevia and such like that.
Stevia?
Yeah.
Your body still couldn't take it?
Well, because there are different levels of stevia.
Okay.
You've got a more natural one where it just comes straight off the leaf and such like that. Then you've got the processed kind that they've processed it down to several things and added chemicals.
Right.
And such like that to it.
It starts to become synthetic.
It becomes synthetic. So although you start with something natural, you don't end up with that.
Right.
Same thing
it's
with
misleading.
Yeah, same thing with our sugar. Yeah. Sugar starts off with cane.
Yeah.
Now see, I could do like a natural cane sugar, you know what I mean, without any problems. Yeah, like the stevoid, which is just pretty much the leaf, no problem. But anything artificial I can't take. So when I became diabetic, I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? So I just went with the natural sugar.
Okay.
It didn't really spike my sugars all that much, as long as I did it in moderation and such like that. So as you're saying, yeah, that's true. As long as it's in moderation and such like that, it doesn't matter. It's just like fresh fruit and such like that. I tell diabetics, be careful. Or if you're getting more an organic type thing instead of one that's been processed or it's a GMO, way big differences.
Absolutely, 100%, 100%. So let's talk about what you got going on now. I mean, what you got introduced to. It sounds like it's kind of a game changer for you.
It really is. Vasayo, which is a company I just got involved with back in November, December, because I was with this other gentleman named Paul Myhill, who was the developer of another product with a different company. So I trusted him. He was a really good friend. I got involved with him in another company that was doing nutritious foods, which we thought was going to be a really good. Didn't do well. They fizzled out very quickly. But I still trusted him as a person. He's a very good man and such like that. So when he said, look into this, I was like, okay. There was no product out yet. Didn't know what the product was going to be or anything like that. But he said, look into this. I was like, okay. But then when we found out what the products were going to be, it was just a wonderful thing. Being a nurse, I've been approached by different companies about here pushing this, pushing that. But when I go to look at their ingredient list and they have something that's in there that's artificial, I'm like, well, why would I push this when it's not all natural.
And it's going against what you believe.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it wasn't something that I wanted to get involved with, so I never did.
Right.
So when this one came out, I looked at the ingredient list and says, okay, hey, everything's natural, non-GMO, it's vegan, vegetarian certified. It does have the steroid or stevia in there, but it's a steroid. I checked with the company production thing and said, hey, what kind of stevia are we using? So it's the more natural, not processed stevia. Okay. So I was like, okay, cool. I can back this product. So how does it work? Well, we don't know. It's a brand new product. We have no idea. But here, if you really want to look into it, check out the ingredients. So one of the things that I was looking at before was curcumin or turmeric, so which is a big thing when it comes to inflammation. Mm-hmm. And a lot of what I deal with in my nursing career right now has to do with inflammation. Yeah. A lot of autoimmune disorders are rampant.
It's the aging machine.
Exactly.
Right?
So, and because our bodies have to fight these processed stuff that's in our body, it ends up becoming an inflamed state. Mm-hmm. We're in this inflamed state for so long that you end up with this autoimmune disorder. Mm-hmm. So it's all just kind of a step stool to, you getting this disease that you shouldn't even really have.
Right.
Right. So I was looking into that turmeric curcumin as one of those things that would help people fight this inflammation. But one of the products that we have called the Renew has that product in it. So I was like, oh, cool. Let's look more into it, and we know it should help people. What really got me with the product was the fact that it uses a different technology to deliver. Whenever we take supplements or vitamins and such like that, a lot of people go to the bathroom, they pee this very fluorescent yellow.
It looks like antifreeze.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, and that's because our body didn't absorb it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's got a poor absorption. So that was always one thing I knew about vitamins.
Okay.
But looking into this, and they said, okay, our advanced delivery technology is different. We're going to deliver those medications via liposome.
Okay.
So a liposome, essentially, to put it in simple terms, is a fat bubble. So what they do is they encapsulate the nutrients in this fat bubble.
Okay.
So the outside lining of this liposome is made with the phosphatidylcholine,
okay,
which is something that our body already has in it. It's basically what our cell walls are made out of.
Okay.
The body recognizes these liposomes as, like, oh, it's one of us, so it makes it easier for these liposomes to attach to our cells. And when they do, they communicate, the cell walls open, and allows the nutrients to dump right into the cells themselves.
So the absorption rate is way
high. You're talking about anywhere from 85 to 95%.
Yeah, if you're anywhere in the 80s,
yeah,
I mean you're winning.
Yeah, you're winning
big time.
So because of that, you would expect that these things to be more effective. Now, product comes out, we're shipping it out to people. People are, because they're liquid. We
so
put
it's
it
a spray.
It's a spray. Put it underneath your tongue, swish it around your mouth because it's the highest absorbability is in your mouth. You go to the emergency room, all emergency meds are right underneath the tongue, right?
Yeah.
So
I mean, I even had to give my dad, when we brought him home for hospice, gave him the morphine
right
in there,
exactly.
and the anxiety, right? In between the cheeks. Yeah,
exactly.
Because of the absorption rate. Yeah,
exactly. Because your oral mucosa has all those capillaries and just sucks it right up into
like
the
a
body.
sponge.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's a spray, so it gets into your body a lot faster. So 2 weeks into it, product's out, such like that. People are coming up with these amazing stories. Oh my God, my pain is gone. Oh my God, I'm sleeping now. Oh my God, I've got this energy now without the jitters, without the crash and burn at the end.
And you know what's interesting when you hear stuff like that, right? I would hear that at times when I had my sports nutrition store and putting them on different things. So many people get used to feeling a certain way, right? And they think that's normal. We do nutrition programs for people, right? And just basic, nothing in depth, but basic.
Sure.
And I'd say, here's the deal. I believe that when you're eating and living in that really clean lifestyle, I believe that it's important to have a cheat day or a cheat meal for a few reasons. Number one, it gives you a mental break. Number two, it makes you understand how you used to feel. And they said, what do you mean? I said, well, my cheat days, right? I'd wake up, usually it was Sunday, I'd wake up and it was ugly. I'm talking a stack of pancakes, syrup, butter, the whole thing. By 4 o'clock in the afternoon, I literally, and I don't drink, I felt like I had a hangover because my insulin was so spiked, right?
Yeah.
I felt horrible, right?
Yeah.
So the next day, I couldn't wait to eat clean again because it reminded me of how I felt. And I think you could speak on that, is people don't realize how good they can feel and how good they should feel.
Right. You know, I don't, because I'm not into a lot of the nutrition, but I do in the fact that when you start getting those nutrients in your body, it does start to change.
That's what I mean. You start the clarity.
Exactly.
Right? The energy.
It really does. And I can actually personally speak to that, because when I was doing the really good nutrients and such like that, and I fell off, I could feel it.
Yeah.
You know, my body feels it right away now, you know, and such like that.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'll get the headaches, the nausea, you know, and such like that.
You just feel run down.
Right.
You feel drained.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, it does make a difference, you know. So, and the thing is, like you said, I mean, for all these years when I was eating poorly, I didn't feel it.
Right.
You know?
You did, but you didn't.
Well, your body gets used to it.
Yeah.
Your body adjusts and you just blow it off, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, it's, you know, no big deal and such like that.
Yeah.
So,
it starts at a young age. You know, we're filled with sugar and we don't realize it. And the other thing you mentioned before we went on, I'd love for you to dive into is the energy drinks. Yeah. Right? And you're seeing kids now walking right? Yeah. Walking out with those energy drinks, man.
Oh, God, it's
and
terrible.
It really is.
It really is.
You know, and I know that you have some things that you guys have that help.
Let me tell you one story about when energies first came out, you know, way back in the 90s and such like that, they first came out. I was working in the emergency room at Naval Hospital, and we actually had one of our corpsmen who worked in the emergency room come in one time. He came in, and his heart was just, boom, you could actually see it in his chest and stuff like that.
You could see it pounding?
You could see it pounding in his chest. We're like, what the hell's going on? We thought maybe he was on cocaine or something. You know?
Right.
We really did.
Yeah,
you know?
he was on some sort of...
right.
Yeah.
So, you know, and he couldn't talk. He wasn't coherent and such like that, and drew his blood to make sure we ran a drug panel. He was perfectly clear. And then we ran a caffeine pad, you know, and his caffeine levels were like just off the charts. And, you know, we were like, you know, when he started coming down off of it and such, we gave him fluids and such like that, and everything started coming down off. We're like, dude, what's up? He goes, oh, man, I was tired. I was chugging these energy drinks. And we're like, how many did you have? You know, I had like 8. And I was like,
oh, man.
You know, and of course, back then, we didn't know the dangers of these energy drinks. You know what I mean? Back in the early 90s when they first come in. Wow, dude. So I knew back then those things were not good. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so it's not something I've ever done. And, you know, when my kids started doing it, I was like, no, you guys cannot do these things. You cannot drink these things. You know, and they would, you know, being outside away from mom and dad, they would. But we never had them in the house or anything like that. Didn't buy it for them. Yeah, as you see kids, because, you know, there's no, you know, to me it's always been, you know, you should have a warning on that thing. You know, this may cause so-and-so, but they don't, you know, because they say, hey, it's just caffeine and sugar, no problem. You know what I mean?
It's pretty wild. Yeah.
So, you know, when you see these kids going into the 7-Eleven or, you know, AM, PM and buying this stuff, and, you know, you just look at it and go, you know, it's like...
And it really starts to beat up your adrenal glands. And when you start to run those adrenal glands down, I mean, you become almost a walking vegetable. Yeah. You know?
I just read a report the other day that said if you drink one small can of Red Bull, it takes 2 gallons of water to flush it out of your kidneys. So you have any more than that, you know, it exponentiates how much water you have. And of course, now we're not drinking water.
And not only that, I don't drink alcohol, but now they're, you know, you got the Red Bull with the vodka and
you know, and it's crazy. So one of the things that Vasayo came out with is an energy product. You know, and this energy product is all natural. You know, you take a couple of squirts, 4 squirts, you know, whatever you need, and it gives you a nice natural lift. Yeah. You know, you don't get that jittery feeling. You don't feel like your heart's pounding. You don't start getting anxious. And then 4 or 5, 6 hours later, when you're coming down off of it, you're not getting that.
There's not a crash.
There's not a crash. Right. You know, like I take it every so once in a while. I don't have to take it every day. A lot of people take it every day because they need to. You know what I mean? But I don't, and it's really cool because you don't really feel it coming on. Yeah. You know, like I'll take it like whenever I'm driving, I'm sleepy, you know, I'll take it. I'm not yawning anymore, I'm not sleepy, but I'm focused on the road.
Well, you're just alert.
I'm alert.
You're alert,
you know? Yeah. And the great thing is about people are starting to use this stuff to replace their coffee and replace those energy drinks. So, you know, they're getting that.
And if you can get that alertness without the crash, you're in business.
It's a great product. It really is. And a lot of people are taking it just because of that, because they're not getting that crash and burn. And on top of that, this is really cool. It's actually helping people. They're taking it as their pre-workout too.
Yeah.
Because it's giving them that boost of energy to complete their workout, even extend their workout because of it.
Yeah.
You know?
Now, is there anything that we didn't talk about that you want to mention, that you want to talk about before we do jump off?
No, I mean, we got some great products. We got the 5 products. We've got the energy, which we talked about. We got a sleep product that goes ahead and helps you sleep. Like with me,
sleep aid, right?
Yeah, we have a sleep aid. Like with me, you know, I go lay down and my mind wakes up. You know, my body may be tired, but my mind wakes
you
up.
and me both, my man.
So this stuff helps you calm down.
Right.
Helps put you to sleep.
And here's what's important, right? Well, I'm sure that it does this. It gets you in what's called a REM sleep state. Now, why is that important? Because at the end of the day, the only way your body repairs and recovers, right, is when you're in that REM sleep state like a little baby.
Exactly.
Right?
And it has an ingredient to detox the brain, too.
Okay.
So as you're in that REM sleep, it's helping you detox your brain.
Okay.
So you're getting rid of all that stuff, you know.
All this toxic?
Yeah, exactly. Which we find, you know, which they're starting to find out, all those toxins are now causing dementia and Alzheimer's.
Yeah. And it makes sense.
So, and then you wake up refreshed because you've been able to go into that deep REM sleep.
It is. I always said this, right? Because I had a product I used to, and it had the valerian root and melatonin, right? I will take a 4-hour REM sleep over an 8-hour tossing and turning.
Oh, sure, of course.
And we've all been there, right? Where if you're not a deep sleeper, right, naturally, but you get that one night where you're just you're like 4 or 5 hours, but you feel so refreshed, and you're like, hey, how do I duplicate that, right? It's like, you know, when you go golfing, right? You hit that one shot out of 13 rounds. You're like, how did I do that, right? So how did you get in that deep sleep? So that's why it's so important to, if you can find something that can put you in that REM sleep state, whether it's a supplement, whether it's yoga, whether it's meditation, or whether it's all of them, right? Get into that REM sleep state, because that's when you repair and you recover. And it's no surprise when you don't do that, dementia, Alzheimer's, and all the other stuff that goes along with it, because you just don't get that ability to shut down.
Exactly.
Yeah. Love
your
that.
mind really needs it. So speaking of that, you know, Alzheimer's, dementia, we also have a neural product that works with the cognitive abilities of people and such like that. It really helps you focus. Like I'm a multitasker, so when I'm multitasking and such like that, I may forget something. But with this neural, keeps me focused, so I'm able to do things. We're finding really, really good results with kids with ADHD, ADD. You know, it allows them to focus. You know, we've got several kids who have been on it that are just wanting it because they know that they can focus, and they're doing well in school, and they're doing better at sports and such like that. You know,
again, quality of life.
Exactly. You know, more improved. You know, and of course, with that, you've also got behavior issues that seem to be lessened and such like that. So
I think with adults, what they'll find, right, is less anxiety, less anxiousness.
That was the other thing. We do have a mood stabilizer in there, so it's helping people with depression and anxiety stay calm. Matter of fact, I have one person who their aunt had to stop smoking because of the fact that she had to start stem cell. So they said, in order for you to do stem cell, you can't smoke, you know. You can't do anything worse to your body, do it. So she actually stopped cold turkey. But she was on the neural product at the same time, did not have one lick of cravings. You know, that has to do with that mood stabilizer. You know, didn't crave that thing. So, you know, we have the sleep, we have the energy, we have the neuro, and then we have our core essentials, which are basically our multivitamins, and they fill in those nutritional gaps. We have one person who had a vitamin D deficiency for the past 11, 12 years. Doctor had said, here, got to take 5,000, 10,000 milligrams or micrograms of vitamin D, never raised up. Started taking the core essentials 2 months later at 400 international units. She's normal, you know, and that's because of that absorbability. You know what I mean? So that's the great thing about this absorbability. It's really, really helping people. So
you can really use it.
Could really use it, and it's effective. You know, that's the point. It is really, really effective. So we have those products, and they're available. You know, they're available to people now. Contact me, reach out to me.
You're going to be able to post all your stuff, and appreciate you take us behind that black curtain share with you
that actually helped. You know, kind of. You know,
Well, it does. It does
really
because
help.
I always say, you know, when you face your fears, they disappear, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when you address it and you put it out there, you own it.
Right.
Now you become bulletproof.
Yeah.
Now there's nothing, right? So appreciate you being courageous, man, and letting us take you there.
Thank you for letting me come on your show.
So we end the show the same way. I believe, Carl, that you can only be in one state of mind at a time.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're in that victim state,
Mm-hmm.
at that moment, there's
Mm-hmm.
zero room for that gratitude.
Mm-hmm.
But if you could be in that gratitude, if you could be in that unstoppable state at that moment, there's no room for victim. There's no room for that poor me or whatever that negative state is. And I always say that, you know, we don't make the rules, right? Life makes the rules.
Sure.
And life always gives us options.
Uh-huh.
And life right now is asking, Carl, if you could live your life purring like a kitten or roaring like a lion.
Oh, definitely roaring like a lion.
Roar like a lion.
Yeah,
So we're going to take this
definitely.
out Monster Motivator style.
All right.
So it's called the Monster Motivator Roar.
All right.
1, 3, 1, 2, 3.
All right, man.
Good job.